Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with two of the most well-respected names within the fine jewelry industry, Jessica McCormack and Beanie Major. London-based jewelry designer Jessica McCormack creates modern heirlooms for future generations. She creates some of the most exquisite diamond jewelry worn by the likes of Meghan Markle, Victoria Beckham, Zoe Kravitz, and our very own Bollywood favorite, Sonam Kapoor Ahuja. Beanie Major, my very dear friend, and as I like to call her, the ring whisperer and jewelry genie, is the founder of In Detail, a jewelry concierge that matches clients with the perfect jewelry designer to get that perfect engagement ring. Between these two ladies, you'll get all the insider knowledge you need to know before purchasing that ring to have a ring that you'll love and treasure forever. Jessica, you're not only the queen of everyday natural diamonds, but you're also a bridal guru. I'm a huge fan of your jewels, and I am not getting married anytime soon, but I definitely feel that if I were to find the perfect engagement ring, I'd be coming to you two ladies, and I'm pretty sure I'd end up at your showroom. So you've developed such a strong cult following. I just love to hear from you what you think makes the dream engagement ring.
It's such a big question, because what is everyone's dream, and everyone's dream's so different. And I think it's so interesting because people come in thinking, right, this is my dream. In my head, this is my dream engagement ring. And what I really love to do is kind of turn that on the head and, like, you know, introduce people to kind of different styles and settings and, you know, different cuts. And I think, yeah, the dream engagement ring might be something that you've got in your head, but then you come in here and, you know, you experience all these like different styles, settings, like, you know, old cut diamonds, modern brilliant diamonds. And I think it's a discovery. And it's also interesting because the you know, maybe the ring you get in your 20s isn't the ring you want to wear in your 40s. So an engagement ring can be an evolving thing. And I think it's just too hard for me to ask what is the dream engagement ring, apart from I've got one here, which I'll just show you, that came in today.
Please do.
Which I'm kind of obsessed with. And it's the most amazing kind of elongated cushion. I'm like, I'll have that, thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very pretty. So I'm quite fickle, but, you know, the dream can change.
Do you ever think it's okay to have a couple of engagement rings that you swap in? Do you see clients end up coming in and saying like, hey, I've had one for like 2 years or 3 years now. I think I might want to switch it up and have like an extra pair to wear.
Yeah,
for different occasions.
Yeah, loads. And I definitely think, you know, there's a lot where you would wear an engagement ring and then maybe during the day you feel more comfortable wearing a couple of bands, you know, and I feel women are becoming more kind of confident and being like, I can wear this like this. I can, you know, the same as like redesigning it. You know what I mean? Like 20 years has gone past, you're within your rights to kind of wear something that you want to wear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see a problem. I know there's a lot of sentimental kind of, you know, thoughts around it all, but yeah, I'm totally up for swapping it around. I've sold a few of my engagement rings. The first time my husband was like, what do you mean you've sold your engagement ring? I was like, but the guy loved it. How could I not? So I'm always eternally kind of, you know, creating space for something new without trading in the husband.
Oh, without trading in the house.
Yeah.
I guess that's, you know, the one thing you got to keep, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see that happening more often?
100%. And I think that can happen a year down the line, or that can happen 30, 40, 50 years down the line. I've actually just remodeled my mother's engagement ring. And I think it's the third time that she's done it. But I think it was the first time that my dad was aware, and he was a bit like, hang on a sec, what's going on? We are keeping all the stones. Yes, we're keeping all the stones and we're keeping the metal, but we're just turning it into something that suits her lifestyle now, which is living in the countryside with dogs. She wanted something, she found that she wasn't wearing her ring anymore and she wanted to. So it was about changing her ring to make sure that it suited her lifestyle today. That was very difficult to when they got engaged. They were a young couple living in London. Today she's got the dogs and, you know, the garden, and she wanted something that she could really bash up and not be too precious about. And I see more and more clients wanting to do the same. And I think that really is the beauty about having diamonds or precious stones and precious metals, is that they can be reused and reimagined again and again and again. And the value and the sentiment all stays there and all remains the same. But, you know, we do change our tastes over time. And, you know, at least there's some valuable materials there and the sentiments there, and you can, reimagine it many times over.
I see a lot of women also like opting for different stones, but at the same time, especially here in India, there is a huge following that just like really has this long love affair with natural diamonds. And I just wonder if you know, why do you guys think that is? I'd love to know what you think a woman's love affair with a natural diamond is.
I think it's a human love affair with natural. I think probably since we first discovered them, I think we are attracted to things that sparkle. We're obviously attracted to things that are rare. There's no denying they are beautiful. I remember actually, Jessica, was coming to your store, and I took a friend who came to an event with me, and she turned around and she said, I get it now. She'd been one of those girls who said, I'm not into sparkle. I don't want.
Yes, I love converting the woman that's like, I'm not into diamonds. I'm like, I think we can change that. You can totally be, you know, you can convert the non-diamond lover as like a real joy.
When you see a photograph, it doesn't express that the beauty when you see one in the flesh. And, you know, obviously diamonds have been a part of engagement rings and romance and love for a long time now. We've seen a lot of it in Hollywood, the sort of, you know, stereotypical Hollywood proposal, down on one knee, big shiny diamond. So I think there's this huge infatuation with them. And there's also been a lot of sort of pomp created around them, and they've become an integral part of the proposal process.
Buying an engagement ring, there's so much knowledge that goes behind it. And obviously you guys have the knowledge, but there's something on so much more of a human level that I think is what keeps clients coming back to you, and the experience that you provide with people. And I'd love to hear a little bit about both of your experiences and how you kind of walk a client through from start to finish.
It's interesting because in most cases, like whether it's male or female, they know a little bit about, you know, natural diamonds. I want a diamond, I want an engagement ring. So you come with a few preconceived ideas of what you want. And what I really try and encourage clients to do is just come in and have a look at some pieces, you know, have a look at some diamonds, have a look at some styles, have a look at some shapes, have a look at some cuts. And with your eyes rather than with your your brain and your logic, and a bit more emotional, especially for male clients. And yeah, I'm a very intuitive person. I'm always really trying to encourage people to like just go with their gut and their feeling, and choose a diamond ring or style that's very personal to them. And then trust in us that we've done all our homework on the diamonds, and you're getting kind of the best, most beautiful, you know, natural diamond I can provide for the client.
So you kind of take that sort of trust aspect out of the process, because as soon as they come to you, they know exactly that they feel comfortable. Let's go straight into the other part of the process.
And that we have the workshop here, you know, so you can be part of it. You can see it being made, you know, so all those layers of trust have already been put into my, you know, hands. And then we can just be really creative about it, because I believe that you have to have obviously like beautiful diamonds and beautiful design balanced together. And then you get something exceptional and very unique to the owner. So yeah, it's a fun process. Scary sometimes, but you know, when you haven't done it before, but it should be fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Beanie, I know with you, it kind of works in a little bit of different way. I feel like people come to you at different stages of the process. So maybe if you could just walk us through what sort of your, you know, source to store process kind of looks like?
Yeah, I mean, people come to me at all different stages. They might have been looking for a while and not been successful. They might be just starting out. It's a very daunting prospect for people. They haven't necessarily purchased fine jewelry before. And I think what I see a lot of people do is go into immediately researching about the ring, and the focus is on the ring. And of course it is, because that's what they're trying to purchase. But when they come to me, I kind of take them a couple of steps back, because my job is to connect them with the perfect designer, so ultimately they get the perfect ring. And really, it's about guiding them and giving them the confidence to make those decisions and make those choices. So we have 3 steps really that when we work with our clients. And number 1, we start with them. What is their timeline? Sounds crazy, but the amount of couples who come with a couple of weeks till their wedding, or men who proposing in a week, so it's a short timeline. Obviously, it's going to be something off the shelf or pulling in a lot of favors. But most importantly, take your time. Then budget. What do you feel comfortable spending? There's obviously a lot of conversations around budget, and I'm sure we'll go into that a bit more further down the line. What's your style? What are the clothes you wear? What are your colorings? What do your hands look like? What's going to suit your hands? Your lifestyle. What's your day to day? How is this ring going to take part in your life? And then also, I think your values. What are your values as an individual and as a couple? What's important to you? Is that working with a British designer if you're based here in London, or is sustainability important to you, or what are the things, is it working with a small independent brand? All these kind of things. Where do you normally shop? And really trying to guide people to really understand what it is that they're looking for, and that then enables us to throw the net really wide and say, look, these are your options. And I think today there are so many options, it can be quite overwhelming, but if you've got a brief to guide you, and the most important thing I say to my clients is we've got to explore all the options, because I don't want you seeing another woman or man wearing a ring, further down the line and thinking, I didn't know I can have that. So it's really important that we expose everything that's available to people. And lastly, once we're kind of clearer on the market and everything, all the options that are available, it's really about narrowing it down and connecting with the perfect ring and the perfect jeweler or jewelry brand or designer. I'm
not ready for an engagement ring just yet, but I'd love to go down that process anytime I buy a piece of jewelry. So you definitely know I'll be messaging you sometime soon. I'm sure throughout this process with your clients, you'll probably start to see trends kind of coming out, or like what clients are drawn most to. Jessica, I'd love to know from you, what are some of the shapes or the trends that you're seeing when it comes to engagement rings?
Yeah, it's also, just want to go back to that point that Beanie said. It's so funny because I have so many women that come who have already been married, engagement ring done before I even started, making jewelry. And they're like, oh, I wish I'd known about that then. And I'm always like, well, you can do it now. You can, reimagine it, as you say, the sentiment and the values all there. So trends wise, the round brilliant kind of cut is always going to be like super popular. For me, I love old mine cuts. So I'm always introducing people to like the old stones cut 1910, 20, because I just think they are really beautiful. And then style wise, what I love is like a little twist on a classic. So an emerald cut, 4-claw kind of ring. What I do is set it east-west, in a more Georgian style setting. So it feels like a solitaire, but it feels really different. And then we also take a pear shape and tilt it. So it's a tiny change to kind of make it feel modern and young and fresh, like, the client, the love, the experience, so it kind of, and as you say, you've got the ring that the girls at the party say, oh, I wish I had that ring, or I didn't know about that ring. So yeah, I find that's what we're seeing a lot of in the engagement ring. department at the moment.
And do you guys find that like couples are actually coming in together? Is this still a process where, the individuals are coming in, or like it's one partner coming in because they want that proposal to be special and a surprise, or what are you seeing?
There's definitely the old school kind of like male coming, as you say, Beanie's usually got about 2 weeks. I'm like, you mean like 6 months? We need to think about this. No, but you can still do it in 2 weeks. So there's still the male that likes to surprise, and then that's for me to kind of work out through him and his, through him what she would like, which is like being like a private investigator. And then we also have then a lot of couples coming in together, and then a lot of women who already have their shortlist pre-proposal. So, we cater for all, but it's really kind of working out what's best for the individual.
Yeah.
What about you, Beanie?
Well, yeah, I think to follow on from that, I think the market has been blown wide open, and that's thanks to lots of incredible jewelers and brands that we've really seen more and more bursting onto the market over the last decade, who are doing really interesting things, who have a really, strong signature style. But I think the market's been blown right open, and I feel like, I think we're seeing it in fashion as well. I wanted to buy a pair of jeans recently, and I was absolutely amazed that I could find jeans in every single style, whether it was combat or flare or skinny or high waist or low rise. And I sort of thought, have we got to this point where fashion has moved so fast that it's sort of caught its own tail, and actually now everything is available to everyone, and we're in a position where we can choose? And you do get the women who want the very Hollywood proposal, surprise, down on one knee, and that's beautiful. And then you get people who want something completely different, and I think in terms of trends, thinking about the design of the ring, it is people are going for very unorthodox things these days that wouldn't necessarily resemble a traditional engagement ring. But it's also the process of how people are buying the ring. They're buying it together pre-proposal, before they tell their family and friends. You have couples who are splitting the cost of the ring. So I really think we live in a society where we are free to love who we like, who we want to love, and how we want to love. And I think that's really being reflected in the rings people are going for, which are much more about signifying their love and their personality and their style as a couple, in the way that they're purchasing and choosing to do that. And yeah, it's really wonderful, because I think it's becoming more and more personal. And I had wondered whether, the engagement ring could sort of fall out of fashion, but I don't think that's the case. I think people are enjoying it more and more than ever as a way to show each other, show their family and friends, and really make it very unique and very personal. So I've always been anti-trends, as you know, Arch.
Yeah.
I think although a fine piece of jewelry can be remodeled, I think ultimately you want to try and buy with longevity in mind, especially when it comes to an engagement ring. So I love the fact that really now anything can be selected as an engagement ring, and it can be purchased in any way, and it can be presented and proposed with in any way. And I think it's a really exciting time for engagement rings.
So that's the major trend you see for 2022. It's really bringing in that personal flair into your ring at the end of the day. Any other trends, Beanie? I know this is not not what you like to talk about, but
you're going to force
any cuts, any styles.
Yes, lots of styles. I think I'm going to talk over the last 5, maybe even more years, and I'm sure Jessica sees this as well. But yellow gold becoming a really predominant metal, whereas in the past perhaps we saw white metal being more popular. Very chunky rings I've seen a lot of over the last few days, that a bit more robust and fit into the sort of modern woman's lifestyle. I mean, Art Deco, but when isn't Art Deco a trend? But I think we've seen a play on Art Deco. I think we've seen a lot of designers saying, okay, we're going to take the language of Art Deco, but we're going to make it relevant to, again, the modern woman, because often with Art Deco rings, they're very, as Jessica says, I think the classic ring, but with a twist, and no one does it better than you, Jessica. So, gosh, I'm sure there are many more. Stacking rings, jackets, very design-led rings that don't necessarily look like an engagement ring in what people traditionally envisage, but where the design becomes as important as the diamonds, and they're all sort of integral to the overall piece.
Yeah, that's really great. And what about you, Jessica? Have you seen like any trends sort of coming through from your end that you see a lot of people asking for?
We were actually just talking about it earlier, and you know, the tri-moi, obviously we feel that I've seen a lot out in the kind of in the press and things, and sadly the one that I wanted to show you today, which is a 5-carat emerald cut with a like 2.5-carat heart on the side, sold yesterday. So I was like, what do you mean someone bought it? It's like amazing news, but also like sad that I can't show you. But yeah, I feel, you know, it's a lot of the old classic, like the 1920s, you know, they'll always be popular, and it's how you reinvent them and make them fresh and current. And for modern women, you know, that want to kind of, you know, go to work, do the school run, be in the garden, be in the boardroom, and how do we create something that fits into everyone's unique lifestyle?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, diamonds for me is a big trend. Always.
Same here. I was wondering, when you had mentioned, you know, your clients coming in and looking at the stone, and do you get a lot of clients coming in saying, I need to have X amount of carat ring, and you know, this is what the expectation is, and do you ever find yourself trying to break that expectation down, or that preconceived notion of what somebody is meant to have in terms of size?
I mean, for me, every day, like literally from the minute I'm doing engagement rings, I'm like, and it's male, female, you know, young and old. It's like, this is what's been drilled into us. This is what a diamond should be, and this is what I should have as an engagement ring. So my thing is to always be like, just try and, you know, delete all that information, which is really hard, and start with an open mind. And I love nothing more than converting someone, you know, someone, as you're saying, Beanie, from a person who doesn't like diamonds. I'm not into diamonds. We can totally like, I can convert that. You know, it's yellow gold. It's, you know, there's so many kind of different opportunities when you're creating something that there is definitely a process to undo what you think you should have, or what you think that you want. I have clients that come in, I'd like a 1-carat D color round brilliant, and they walk out, you know, with a emerald cut set east west, you know, in yellow and black gold, when they were like, we must only have platinum. So they're just kind of things that, you know, and also like it's generational, from like, you know, what did my grandmother have? What did my mum have? You know, what would they like me to have? And so, yeah, I mean, they're all really easy little things to change. I just think it feels quite scary, and, you know, you don't want to make a mistake because it's forever, and, you know, and your marriage is forever. And so, but that's, you know, there's room to like flex within that. Totally. Creatively.
And I think as well, we have this wonderful system which helps us to grade diamonds and price diamonds and choose diamonds, but it only goes so far, because ultimately there's always this moment, and I'm sure you have the same, Jessica, where they're sitting and they've got 3, 5, 10 diamonds in front of them, and there's one that just stands out. There's one, they find the one, and I think, you know, it only goes so far on paper, and it's actually handling those stones, and sometimes with a budget, compromises do have to be made. But thankfully, there are lots of different sort of variables where compromises can be made in order, you know, to find that perfect stone, and there really is a perfect diamond for everyone. So I think the 4 C's and all that is wonderful to have as a sort of basic understanding, but ultimately handling the diamonds and really getting a feel for what looks good on you and just what feels comfortable is much more important. And also there are other ways around it. You know, there are potentially you can buy into vintage and antiques, or off the shelf sometimes can be a good sort of cost cutting exercise if you're not finding what you want within the bespoke realm. You know, bespoke does come at a certain price, and I guess that's not available to everyone. And I think also clever design as well, how you support the leading diamond with maybe some smaller diamonds, or a clever piece of design can still have the impact that the client's probably trying to achieve.
I'd love to know what your 3 takeaways would be for our viewers today, or purchasing an engagement ring. Like,
the number one would definitely be to, you know, just go look with your eyes. As Beanie was saying, on paper, you can do all the homework, you can do all the grading, you can do everything, but you have to just use your visual kind of, you know, eyes and just look at something, and you'll find something that jumps out at you. And then to not be like scared of doing something that you didn't know that you were going to do, you know, and somebody can help you through that process. So to be a little brave, I suppose. And then, yeah, just go with your gut, I think, definitely. You know, like, be a little bit brave, go with your gut. You know, as I said, I've never had a disappointed fiance yet. This will be, you know, I've just jinxed myself for that now. But yeah, and also that it can, you know, we can always make improvements.
and what about you, Beanie? Your 3 key takeaways?
I think if you can, take your time. It's an important purchase, and it's a really enjoyable process. So take time to enjoy it, take time to get it right for the here and the now. You know, although, as Jessica says, obviously it's not set in stone, it can be updated. I think try to avoid the trends. My number one, and really try and look beyond that and think about who you are as a couple, what your style is, what your lifestyle. A lot of the stuff I sort of said at the beginning, and that's 2. Is that enough? I can't think of it.
Three's hard.
I think I'm repeating myself, but yeah.
Okay, B, you're not engaged. What would be your ideal engagement ring?
Oh God. Sorry. Are you gonna send this to my boyfriend? I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that like the key takeaway that you should give to guys, is tell your friends what you want? That's what it should really be.
That's a good tip. That's actually a very good tip, because a lot of guys do come, they're like, so my friend said this, so there's a good tip.
Honestly, I really don't know. I think, as Jessica says, it changes every week. Every time I help a client buy something mega, I think I want that. But, you know, interestingly, I wasn't always a diamond girl. I didn't come to jewelry from a place of diamonds and sparkle. My background is very much the design. And that used to be the most important factor for me. But I've really seen over the last few years of working with clients and sourcing some very special stones, how much value there is in that stone, and the fact that it can be remodeled. So if I was to purchase a ring now, and especially if we were to set a budget, I think right now my focus would be on sourcing a very special stone that could evolve with me, and indeed hopefully be passed down to the next generation as well.
Great. And Jessica, could we take a look at your engagement ring?
Oh, I can't. Oh, well, this is not my engagement. This is what I'm wearing as my engagement ring, because I'm also quite, as I mentioned, I've sold the first engagement ring I made. Somebody loved, I sold it. So I'm kind of on my fourth at the moment. And this is because it's new and I love it. And it's an oval set
Oh
on a
my
couple
gosh.
of yellow gold bands. I don't know if you can see that there.
Love
So I'm
that.
kind of like obsessed with this, loving it. And I'll just show this other one that I can swap between the two. This is the tilted pear diamond.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's just a pear, it's a really traditional pear shape, just set on a, the perfect angle.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I'll have either of those. I could wear both actually right now.
I'll have them too.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice right there. It's like, you don't only need one.
You don't need one.
Yeah.
We've got 10 fingers.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for your time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. I'm such a huge fan of both of you. And I think this is going to be really helpful to our viewers here and really change the perception of the way that Indian women are looking at buying their engagement rings. So
Cool.
thank you so much.